Okay, with Tor Kristoffersen, Direct Action is the short film played at the Environmental Film Festival. A teenage environmentalist leads a protest, and then she's got conflict with her dad, the police, the courts. It's a really interesting short film, and you submitted the feature version of this screenplay to our festival as well. So I'll just do the math. I'm assuming this is a proof of concept of the feature film.
Yeah, you've kind of got it totally right there, Matthew. I mean, I'd written the feature and I knew I wanted to do a short as well. I mean, sometimes when you're writing a lot of features, you kind of lose touch with the making a little bit, if you know what I mean. And it
Yeah.
can and so with this, I felt there was a real opportunity to make a short, which was a proof of concept, but also to make a short that could stand alone. Because I think that's one thing that I didn't want to do, which sometimes you can do with those, is it just doesn't really work on its own. So that's obviously a bit of an exercise in itself, but I'd like to think we kind of achieved that.
Oh, 100%. I wouldn't, like I said, I wouldn't know. And like, the only reason why I know is because you submitted the feature
Yeah.
version to our festival. So, um, yeah, it's definitely a standalone short film, and it's a great job. And this actress is fantastic. Let's talk right there. Where did you find your? Because she's in every scene, so she's your film. So where did you find her?
Totally. Totally. Yeah, you're totally right. Anna Morn, who played Emily. That was one of the biggest, obviously the biggest choices of the film. I kind of you nailed it there. She's in every scene. I mean, in the feature, she's I think in almost every scene as well. So she's like the total backbone. And I knew if I was gonna, that was the one decision I really wanted to take my time on. I was very lucky to have a casting director who's a friend of mine help find her, in particular that role, Nikki Topping. So she put forward some great options, but there was always something about Anna that I really liked. And then she also just sort of showed a little bit, I don't know, a bit more kind of hunger, I guess. Like we did an initial Zoom audition, which she kind of got through to the last sort of couple, the last few. And then I just was like, can you come in? And nowadays post COVID, like sort of doing live auditions seems to be, it happens less and less. But she
Yeah.
was she was more than happy to come in and give it and again do a great read. And I kind of very quickly knew on the live one that I was like, I was looking at Emily. So yeah.
So the first 2 minutes of the film is really kind of like a fast-paced exposition of like what's going to happen with this character. It's like it's all like handheld camera. It's like lots of movement. She starts, I guess, in her home, or and then you see her fall. You follow her to the moment where she change herself up. It's kind of a really great sequence and lots of background performers, lots going on. Really cool location. This seemed to be a really difficult job. I'm assuming it was not easy to pull this off the first 2 minutes of the film.
You're totally right. That was, especially for a short where you are obviously dealing with tight budgets and a lot of favors. You're totally right. And I mean the people that was shot in Weatherby actually, the house wasn't, that was shot in Leeds, but the all the sort of protest stuff was shot in Weatherby, which is it's about 20 minutes from Leeds, but it's still obviously unit moving, kind of quite a lot of people out there. And then, yeah, we had a lot of really great people within that Weatherby who were very positive about being involved in the film, and they really made it happen. People like Alison, who was sort of within the council and stuff. But I'd be lying if I said there weren't certain people in the town who weren't sympathetic to what the film was about. So it definitely made things a little bit interesting during the actual shoot.
Well, did you have to like lock down that area that it's like a courtyard or like that kind of location?
Yeah, so we were basically at the beginning. So we tried to shoot out everything in the morning, which was near shops, obviously, because we didn't want to kind of impact. Obviously, that was all communicated. And then we were right outside the town hall. So the town hall we'd been discussing with the council, so we'd kind of completely booked all that, and it was all paid for and everything. So it was all done. But yeah, it's one thing kind of doing all of that, and then meeting actual members of the public who may not necessarily, and with a short, they may be looking at it and not quite understanding. I think some of them thought it was an actual protest, and didn't necessarily agree with with the protesters, shall we
The
say?
ideology of the film, right? So
Yeah.
So the but you show who this character is through action. So she doesn't really need to say anything really. It's if she does, but you show her that she's a leader. You show her that she's young and idealistic, which is good, and that she basically people are basically setting the tone of what's what, and she's determined, and she's got this drive, and all you and that you showed that with her just with her action, who she is, right?
Yeah, you've again, you've sort of nailed it. You try and, as with all screenwriting, you try and show character through action. I mean, you've sort of laid it out there, and yeah, I kind of knew I didn't want too many words said at that beginning. And again, earlier you sort of nailed it as well. It was like I really wanted that beginning to just sort of be quite. You knew something was going to happen, but you weren't quite sure what. I wanted to kind of keep her top sort of hidden at that stage. And then obviously, after about a minute, you kind of know what's going. You're very much quickly understanding what's going on, but you hopefully don't know how it's going to escalate, and you don't know where it's going to go. So I was quite happy with the drama that we were setting there, and then the different layers of seriousness that we could start to introduce. I mean, it's a while ago now, but I remember being young and idealistic, and you perhaps, especially when you start to come and deal with authorities, you probably don't quite know the impact of
Yeah.
stuff. If you're a bit naive to what oh I believe in it, I'll do this, and then you can land yourself in a lot of trouble. And we've now got more and more laws being, we've got two in particular in the last couple of years that are extremely aggressive in terms of dealing with protesters. Um, and she obviously, without sort of ruining it, she ends up locking on. But the thing I really was interested in was sort of starting to explore that, was like what happens when when someone starts to, you could argue, have a very just, well, I think have a very just cause about trying to draw attention to, and then meeting an extremely kind of draconian set of laws that
Yeah.
don't want you to.
Yeah, well, you set the like well. First of all, the film is it all shot on handheld. The entire film, like, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I think, yeah, there was nothing on sticks at all, and we had a rig, like a body rig that was used a few times, an easy rig, when we were doing the running sequences and stuff, and there was a few other shots where he did it, but much to the DP's joy, we were like, let's go handheld on pretty much everything. Yeah. So yeah, yeah, yeah.
Did you guys? How did you guys set up the like the tone of the shot list? Did you guys storyboard? Did you storyboard anything, or did you kind of just like how was the
Yeah, exactly.
process?
Yeah. Storyboarded the whole film,
Oh,
actually.
really?
Yeah. Again, just lucky that I know a really good storyboard artist, and I like to recce really. I really like to recce a lot before, as I'm doing the shot list. I mean, I'm quite, that is part of the process for me. It really enables me to just work out my shots, really start blocking out action mentally. If I'm there with the producer, we'll sort of run lines, and just sort of check out very, very loosely, obviously, because you want to give the actor, as much freedom as you can. But yeah, that really enables me to really prep mentally in terms of where roughly I think it's blocking, and then that can feed into the storyboard artist's art, and you very quickly then start to see that art come together. And then I also like to block it out into a full boardomatic, which is where I'll put it into the whole entire sequence. So we'll have the film in boards with people saying the lines before we even shoot.
So there's a lot of movement in and out. Like, was your DP, was he focus pulling himself? I'm just curious about that process.
No, we had a great sharps focus puller on this. We had a really good camera team. There was a three-man camera team. So there was Tommy, who was the DOP, and then we had focus puller, and we had an assist. Clapper loader. Obviously, it's digital now, so they're not really, clapper loading isn't what they're
Yeah.
doing. They are an extremely important job in terms of the mags, all of that stuff, clapping the board. All of that stuff. So we were really kind of I was very lucky with the crew that really, essentially gave their time, because with a short that you're getting, I don't know what it's like in the States, but people are getting we gave gestural fees. We kind of tried to do this democratic fee structure where everyone got a very small amount every single day. So there was no kind of hierarchy in that sense. It was just like, look, we're all getting this much for every day you shoot and every day of prep. So
North
yeah.
America is all about hierarchy and capitalism, right? So people got to know where they are. It's a chain of command.
I mean, in we still had all of that in
No, I
terms of
understand.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah, yeah.
just kidding.
But I mean, they're just and it's the same. It's the same in the actual industry. Obviously, you'll be
Yeah,
getting paid more, but from the funding point of view, there was just no way, and it just seemed like the fairest way to do it, so that people wouldn't be on set going, "What you got this a day? Why'd I
yeah.
only get this a day?" So yeah,
No, but it's a great way to do it. Sometimes like I just know a lot of DPs and sometimes it's more about their pride. They want to make sure that they get paid the most because it's like that's who they are, right? So, but I love that. That's a great system. That's a for an independent film. It's a good idea. So okay, so let's talk about okay, so I'm curious about the courtroom scene. So you had to rent that location, I guess, right?
yeah, yeah. Again, I used to live up north in England, so I kind of knew the layout of the land a bit in terms of I'd lived in Leeds for a long time. So we based the unit out of that, it's a city, but it's not it is big in the sense the population is big, but it's actually quite a small city center. And it's very close to a couple of other towns, like close to Bradford, close to Wetherby, where we kind of knew we wanted to do the protest. And we were really lucky to get some support from a great location scout called Richard, who works for Screen Yorkshire, which is a kind of it just helps the film, film within the region, within the Yorkshire region. And he just was really helpful in terms of making some suggestions. And Bradford was a bit further than we wanted to go, but it was a great location because you had the court and then below it you had the prison because it was an
Yeah.
old, yeah, so it was all within the same building. So we could just go there for 2 days and actually just base out of there. And then they were really great at Bradford because they gave us I mean, this is it, they gave us a great deal on the actual location. Like we were paying, way less than you would normally pay on the rates, but they supported the film.
Because it's like from like you were talking about UK, North America, it's like there's like a certain prestige, I guess, in the court system, and in like it's different. It's the same, but it's different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's older. It's like there's more history attached to the kind of the system, I guess, right? To the routine, I guess.
Yeah, and it's really interesting. I actually learned a lot about the law system while doing this. I knew about the laws, but I didn't actually know about that much about or the magistrates court and the crown court and how it kind of splits off and who deals with what court deals with what. And I was very lucky to have a friend who's training in law, and he really helped me kind of like step through that stuff and get the procedural stuff right. At one stage it's quite hard. Like if you get found in contempt of court, you go through loads of hoops, and it's should we just say it kind of interrupts the drama that you're trying to create. So
Yeah.
there was a fine line of being realistic, and this is how it works, and also retaining the kind of level of drama. But yeah,
It's a psychology. There's a psychology to attached to it where like they're all high up, right? You're looking up at them, right? And
that's
it's
right.
sort of like it's so kind of messed up in a way where it's like you're kind of when you look up to somebody, it's like there's that like you feel smaller, I guess, right? So
100%. I mean, you're totally right. I mean, I don't know the exact date that courtroom was built, but it's all coming out of essentially an era when we had well, we still have a monarchy, but you have a monarchy, and it's like, and you are looking up at the kind of the king and the queen's kind of, that they're sort of judges. I mean,
yeah,
that division from the court system and parliament is, that's been established in the UK as it has in the States, which is very, very important, kind of division, because it means they have that independence, the independence of judiciary. But yeah, you still get all the trappings that you sort of described there, and all the architecture and the design and all of that stuff. And it's like, yeah, you're the one, you're in the dock, mate.
yeah. She feels so the way you shot it too. She feels so tiny in the
Yeah.
in the scene, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I when we looked at that location, it was just you just like you know, it's one of the things that you really want to fight for is those, you know, with film is those locations that give you the scale and
Yeah.
instantly give you the language, and it's like that and the town hall and those things that it just communicates so much.
Oh yeah.
We'd got a much better deal on a law court in closer to where we were, but that location was just so good. We really kind of were like, no, we need to kind of fight for it because it communicates all that stuff. And as you rightly say, just instantly in that opening shot, she's just this, you realize that, you know, she's a young girl again, and she's just in the middle of the system.
And there's consequences in the free society. There's consequences for her actions, right? So she's an idealist, and it's like you said, when you're young, you don't think. It's so funny. The youth is wasted on the youth. They don't think, like, even myself, I didn't think about my future when I was like when I was 21, 22 years old, right? Even though I should have been, right?
Yeah,
You're not emotionally mature enough to understand, like see 5 steps ahead of what your actions are, right? So
you're totally right.
yeah,
And I think that's kind of with her dad, especially, he's trying to sort of, that's the part he's trying to appeal to, you know, he's kind of, he's got a financial interest in this project, in the mine going ahead, but he's also, from a fatherly point of view, he's like, you don't get it, you don't kind of get how this will affect you, how this will, you know, be a kind of blot on your record. So that was quite a nice sort of area of drama. I felt that I explore more in the future as well, but where you're totally right, idealism runs through, but there's an element of, I kind of love it that she's so idealistic. You know, I kind
yeah,
of, because I mean, I've gone on marches and stuff, and there's been times where I'm like, okay, I've got to go now because I've got a job and kids, and
yeah.
I can't take this further. But when you're that young and that you've kind of like, you are idealistic, I don't know, I just think there's something quite there's something great about the fact that they go for it. And if you look at a lot of the things that have happened throughout history in terms of protests and stuff, it is quite interesting that a lot of the people who make up those movements are students. You know,
Yeah,
if you look at in the States, the Vietnam War protests, you know, huge amount of students, you know.
yeah, 100%, right? So yeah, we won't talk about what's happening now, but basically, but the scene where she goes down in the basement, like the cellar, like that's the consequences. You're going to the dungeon. It's like the way you shot that, and you said that was the location itself, which is amazing because that's like it's such a great metaphor, right? Like you're like
Yeah.
in this beautiful, pristine, like courtroom, right? Like all this riches and history, and then you go down to the cellar and you're in the basement and they lock the door and there's some creepy lady there that you're sharing
Yeah.
a cell with, right?
Yeah, it's basically exactly, and what was nice about it was you really got an inkling of how it was when that was really operational, because it's been there a long time, you know, and people would have literally been taken down that is the way they would have been taken down to the cells. So it was exactly as you say,
Yeah,
and I really, for me, there was another like thematic link. I was very interested in the way the suffragettes were kind of dealt with back in the day in the UK, especially, and they would have been like put into cells not very looking very similar to those cells. So I kind of, at first I was a bit like, oh, these might look a bit too old, but actually I just leaned into it and really actually thought there's a nice link up there with that sort of that theme.
I gotta ask you about the makeup job on her lip because she's wounded, right? It's a good metaphor. Like, did the makeup person at all constantly have to like add that
Yeah,
to her
yeah,
lip? Yeah,
yeah, she did a great job, and yeah, we wanted to obviously, as you say, give it that small wound, but not go too far, you know. It wasn't about it, the idea being it sort of happens, you know, and it gets caught in this sort of, you know, when she gets arrested, but it doesn't turn into something more or bigger than that. But yeah, when it on the day after after Anna had gone through makeup, you know, there would be touches, you know, retouches before we'd go for a take.
yeah, yeah. It was no, it's a great little touch, right? Because there's like she's not unscathed, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, from what happened, right? So Yeah,
Yeah.
no, this is a great film all around, and it ends with a twist. And yeah, it's an amazing proof of concept film, even though, like I said, it does stand alone and people loved it. What did you think about, we sent the audience to you, the North American audience to you. What did you think what they had to say about your film?
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, I just thought that that was such a lovely element of of how you guys run it. It's just really nice. There's a couple of festivals that you see do this, and it just shows another level of like interaction with the film, and it's really lovely to get that audience feedback, especially of people you completely don't know. Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like and yeah, I was really interested in it, and I just thought that everyone's opinion was really good, and I was actually really happy that they were kind of like, there was one person who was like not necessarily her fan, shall we say, but it was really great to see that cross section of reactions to that character.
Yeah,
uh,
100%.
and I thought that everyone had really interesting, insightful things to say, and I think it was the first lady that I just think really kind of nailed it at the end for me. She was like, this is a problem that isn't going away. So I think that was the line that kind of really stayed with me, because I thought that was a very succinct way of talking about this issue.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, well, like we didn't even talk about the thematic. Yeah, that this is a key issue as well. So, are you going to make what's the next step? Are you going to make the feature film?
Well, I would love to make the feature film. I mean, it's England is quite tricky to, in terms of getting your the script in front of the right people, trying to generate that interest, trying to get something off the ground. I mean, not to say that it's easy anywhere. I think making a film anywhere in the world is hard. I just know sort of England better because I live here. But it's tough, man. And at the minute we're in a recession, and so and there's a lot of people feeling the kind of bite, and it adds additional layers of of trickiness, shall we say. So I'm out there trying to get it, in between work, trying to get it in front of people. And stuff like this festival and festivals that are supporting it really help with kind of, give it a little bit of traction, and hopefully that helps feed into getting it in front of the right person.
Well, it's a great film. Like I said, I wish you the ultimate best of success with it. And yeah, you can see that it's a like you found a really good lead actor too, and it's just like nicely put together film on all levels. So nice art direction, like you said, the locations you nailed it. So wish you the ultimate best of success with the film, and let's talk again when either when you make your next film or when this turns into a feature film.
Thank you very much, Matthew. It's been a pleasure talking with you.
Thank you.